Tantor Audio presents The Smartest Book in the World, a lexicon of literacy, a rancorous reportage, a concise curriculum of cool, by But Proops. Narrated by But Proops. Introduction. Hooray, hurrah! You made it to the smartest book in the world. You are now officially more inquisitive than all your bored friends. In your hands, you hold a clamorous compendium, a rancorous reportage, a lexicon of literacy. This is the burning bush, the Rosetta Stone, the fountain of youth, the grail to all the funnest knowledge and most freaktastical answers to the questions you've never asked, like, which Roman emperor would be the best first baseman? And, does vodka go with vodka? You know, the vitals. Lots of comedians write first-person memoirs of their hilarious experiences in show business. This is not a bad thing. We like to see comedians get work. Well, sometimes they tell stories about their dog or people they shagged. This book is not one of those. I don't have a dog. And the people I know don't have dog stories either. Not even shaggy ones. To be sure, the experiences are there, but this round, it's better to mind the vast world outside one's career and troll for laughs and the occasional fact. What makes you so smart? I hear you ask. Stop sniveling. It does not happen overnight. One must spend years traveling, studying, and performing to rapt, attentive, worshipful crowds. Since that was practically impossible, I self-anointed and did a Proopcast. The knowledge collected is for us to share. You'll be excited, then ashamed, then inflamed, then engaged. Thank you for buying this. If you stole it, well done you. You're going to make your way in this world. If you borrowed it, return it full. Let us take to the ether. The Proops Commandments. 1. There will be ancient history. The past is never dead. It's not even past. William Faulkner. Yet it is more honorable and just and upright and pleasing to treasure in the memory good acts than bad. Xenophon. Anabasis. I'm aware that just saying ancient history makes you fidget in your seat and look at the clock. I feel you. But these aren't just dinky people wearing togas and writing out love notes on papyrus. We're talking about the most violent, sexually aberrant, mentally unstable people in the history of our blue planet. And those were just the leaders. Every form of vice and villainy was practiced. Gluttony, lust, genocide, patricide, infanticide, regicide, usury, perversion, treachery, and always lots of awesome slavery. Their fighting and boinking would make a Led Zeppelin after-party look like play school. We're going to throw down on the ancient groove monkeys of the past who changed the funk for all times. Just sneak a peek at Nero, the Roman emperor and famous maniac, who prowled the streets at night, mugging people and molesting women with his pals. The Lush emperor even took up acting and had a group of guys applaud for him at festivals. He also married 2 men and had one castrated so he could be his wife. And for his final act of depravity, he stomped his pregnant wife to death. Then we have the Emperor Tiberius, who left his job and moved to the Isle of Capri just to perv it up. He had a pool full of boys who would swim up to him and nibble at his imperial giblets. They were called minnows. Feeling queasy? Try this fine lady, Julia, the daughter of the Emperor Augustus, who used to take on all comers late at night right in the Forum. You get the mosaic. For the hat trick, we have Cleopatra, who had a pleasure barge with purple sails and perfumed dancing girls. So put down your smartphone and reconsider the past. While bringing debauchery to new heights in the 3 centuries from Alexander the Great to Cleopatra, the world also perfected medicine, theater, wine, philosophy, logic, Christianity, democracy, the written word, the zero, astronomy, bronze, the Olympics, falafel, or falafel, gladiator sandals, and perhaps most importantly, the sports stadium with vendors, beer, bleachers, sunroofs, and a luxury box. The Colosseum in Rome had a retractable sunroof made of sails that was manned by a local unit of sailors. The ticket to amphitheaters were perforated and stamped so one could tell which section to sit in, and attendance could be accurately counted. Alexander brought engineers who measured the distance they traveled in conquering the world. The steam engine and the computer were invented, but discarded, because slave labor made them redundant, Yet we destroy the sites of their glory willy-nilly and pay no heed to their warnings and wisdom. We of this age have bombed and made war on ancient Babylon, Parthia, Mesopotamia, and the timeless city of Damascus, the very places where civilization was invented and the Bible took place. The ancients advised, love is the joy of the good, the wonder of the wise, the amazement of the gods. Tough lesson, that one. Now, I'm not here to sound like the Antiques Historical Roadshow. The old days were rarely the good old days. Oh, they were damn fine for a few people with eunuchs, a personal army, and a villa. For most others, they were lucky not to end up being a chariot speed bump. It was a good day if you could avoid bristling arrows, marauding armies, raging phalanxes, or boiling oil. To make no mention of the epidemics, floods, and occasional rains of frogs for a change of plague. But for pure flash, the ancients knew how to party with prostitutes of dazzling variety and proclivity, build colossal monuments and temples of marble, paint statues, and had the know-how to roast an ox with a goose in it. Take that, turducken. I'm not saying we should go back to the age of enslavement, but we could use a dash of that faith and single-mindedness that it took to build aqueducts and pyramids and the like. Our current defining philosophy is one of raw self-interest. Was it always thus? Yes, but with an explanation. People then conquered the world astride a white horse, wearing a plumed helmet, the troops singing, flutes playing in the dusty breeze. Today, the conquerors meet in a climate-controlled conference room in Switzerland and lack all of that bravura. Alexander claimed he was the son of Zeus. Those who run the world now have no such distinction of lineage. Alexander read Homer. There's no poetry in leadership now because it's not printed on money. And in all that time, nobody ever texted a picture of their genitalia. They cast it in bronze and hung it as a lucky oil lamp. 2. There will be movies. The smartest book has a no 3D policy, but the movies here are not necessarily the critical darlings of all time. Some are just plain fun. But even fun requires craft and respect for the audience. These movies respect you and invite you to live in their world. These pictures are the funnest and goodest. They're what you need right now. If you have seen them, good for you. Time to revisit. If not, get watching. Life is too short to spend any more time on Iron Man 9 or The Hangover 6. The films here will divert you. Some may even move you. Thrill to the booming monument that is Anita Ekberg in a fountain in La Dolce Vita. Taste the wild, screaming estrogen flow and the semi-documentary music video style of Richard Lester letting the Beatles loose in A Hard Day's Night. Take back the night with truck-shooting, convenience store robbing badasses Susan Sarandon and Gina Davis in Thelma and Louise. Take a long look and appreciate the actors who are movie helpers. Actors who make any movie they're in more entertaining, no matter how dreary. Like quirky Hebrew sex symbol Jeff Goldblum in Igby, who always appears to be in a different, better, funnier, quirkier movie than whatever movie he's actually appearing in, especially when he's in a Jurassic Park sequel. The bombshells get a workout by dropping the fire on your libido. That's right, Rita Hayworth in Gilda is made of solid chrome hot. The earthy Scandinavian lava pool Ingrid Bergman in Casablanca is a dame so smoking she makes you join a band of rebels. Tallulah Bankhead brings bisexuality to gravel voice dizzying heights in Lifeboat. If movies aren't better than life, then why live? 3. There will be Satchel Paige. Ain't no man can avoid being born average, but there ain't no man gotta be common. Satchel Paige. Satchel Paige was an all-star ace pitcher, up and down North, South, East, and West America. He played for countless teams and was a veteran of thousands of baseball games and 1,000,000 miles on the road. He didn't always show up on time, and in general, rules did not apply to him. His stories are to be taken with a grain of showbiz, but that is what elevates him above other baseball greats. The man had super charisma and blarney. He's an ageless immortal, a clown, a showman, a barnstormer, a teller of tall tales, a ghetto success story, a civil rights pioneer, a black superstar. He hung with Jelly Roll Morton, played the guitar, blew through loads of money, wore flashy suits with gaudy ties, married at least 3 women, collected antiques, showed up in a cowboy movie with Robert Mitchum, told big stories, misremembered superstars' names, and held court for generations. Facts were never set in stone for Page. His name isn't even Paige. His family changed it from Page to class things up. His date of birth is movable. He was a sage and a teacher. Life was his subject. Baseball was the school. Class commences now. 4. There will be poetry. When power leads man towards arrogance, poetry reminds him of his limitations. When power narrows the areas of man's concern, poetry reminds him of the richness and diversity of his existence. When power corrupts, poetry cleanses. For art establishes the basic human truths which must serve as the touchstones of our judgment. John F. Kennedy. Poetry is the shortest distance between two humans. Lawrence Ferlinghetti. Poetry gets a bad rap. In Ireland, poets are venerated. In America, poetry's scary if it don't rhyme. Schools don't teach students to seek out the poetry in life. Rather, they're taught to conform and fit into boxes. Poetry's a rebellion. These poets spoke of love, to be certain, but there's revolution in the verse. Baudelaire scandalized Paris. Poe frightens generations. Villon had to run for his life. Ovid was banned from Rome. Poetry is the shield. Poetry is the key to the other world where we all belong. These poems and these poets are outcasts and outlaws, outsiders, visionaries, and outliers. Poetry is included here because life is an endless series of narrow-minded oysterheads trying to revoke you. It's an arid desert devoid of humanity. It's a horrid, poisonous rainfall of shards of obsidian smashing down upon your heart. It's hideous career choices that you regret the rest of your life. It's relationships you enter into with every bloody possibility of failure at the outset, and yet you dash into them like a heedless albino bat through a cave, as swiftly as you can to your own inevitable demise against a sticky-ass stalagmite where they find you, centuries later, struggling in your death throes. That's why. Poetry helps alleviate that. We live in a world where Dick Cheney gets to walk around and do whatever he wants. Vladimir Putin is in charge of a country, though he is clearly a certifiable maniac. And Donald Trump is invited to share his thoughts. That is why we need poetry. Light some incense, pour yourself a chalice of elderberry wine, and slide down into a comfy chair. It won't be as bad as you think. 5. There will be music. Music is a moral law. It gives soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and charm and gaiety to life and to everything. Plato. The smartest book admits that music is subjective. Some people, as Donnie and Marie once so sagely observed, are a little bit country. Some a little bit rock and roll. One thing is certain. There's no accounting for taste. If there were, why would Sting and the Police have enjoyed such an enduring career? His name is Sting, aren't you embarrassed? I am. If rock is supposed to be cool and represent rebellious rockers snorfing drugs and blazing on bitchin' motorcycles, what would be the uncoolest name for a band ever? Let us conclude, the Police. Why not call yourselves the Federal Bureau of Bummer? Music is food for the soul and snacks for the shallow good times. Therefore, you must have music for every state of mind and emotion. There are albums you must have for the sake of your own musical life. No Journey, Block-Eyed PAs, Foreigner, Kiss, Miley, Justin Bieber, no Stadium White Guy, Gimme Camp Rock, or any junk where auto-tuning is used. Those albums are evil, and only a clamhead who's lost their ability to discern the singing of angels from the brainless bleatings of a toaster oven could enjoy them. From the grumpy confines of the fortress of Proopitude, thus have we spoken. 6. There will be no whining. There will be occasional boring preachy parts, but you're expected to act like a grown-up and eat your spinach. It's good for you, goddammit. Get some fortitude and fiber into your diet. Grow a pair of female members. You're not required to agree with everything you read. That is submission. But laughing at it and trying to understand something you do not concur with is called being sophisticated. It's entirely your prerogative to agree or disagree with my assertions. But consider this. You may not have spent as many hours riding in a bus across the Saskatchewan prairie, contemplating the vast contributions of Canadian rock musicians, or hung out at a roadside truck stop in Turkey deconstructing an old Kojak episode. If you are the kind of person who says they think they read something somewhere, let this be the place you read it, and maybe remember? Retention is not required. I will always be right here, and right here. 7. There will be art. If you want to really hurt your parents, and you don't have the nerve to be gay, the least you can do is go into the arts. Kurt Vonnegut, A Man Without a Country. Art is as essential as air to a mammal, as sun to a reptile, as suppression to a bureaucrat, as a metaphor to a writer grappling for examples. Art exists so we can rise out of the filth of chasing money and doing our corporate masters' bidding. Art doesn't change the world. Art is the bloody world. Let's then try to take it from where the rich elite keep it in a museum. We'll see if we can extricate art from its exclusive stronghold and put it back in your crib. Please do not actually try to steal art or break the law in any way. We cannot be responsible for how easily swayed you are and how little willpower you possess. So don't even think about it. Well, unless your plan is foolproof. Then meet me in the car park and look for the black van with the rearing horse airbrushed on the side. We will answer to Miguel. 8. We will spell woman with a capital W. There is a movement by all the men in the world to make sure women don't get a fair shake. Men yell at women from cars. Men deny women equal pay. Men tell women to smile. Men off their wives and girlfriends. Men enact laws to keep women from health care they need. This is not an opinion. This is fact. The reason is a woman dreamed the universe into existence. Women give birth. Men take life. Therefore, men are jealous of this power. War is menstruation envy. A woman dreamed the universe into being. That's why it's called the Big Bang. Only a woman can make a bang that big. If a man had done it, it would be called the disappointingly early theory of the universe. Men can only give birth to sacred bullets through their Viagra-assisted man shaft. Women deal with the pain of childbirth. Men act like they have diphtheria if they get a cold. We all know Columbus and George Washington, but who's taught about Sojourner Truth or Susan B. Anthony? Women in the United States could not vote until 1920, then only because they demanded it for years. Any advances women have made, they have done by organizing and being better at everything than men just to be recognized and heard. They have to. A few things to ponder as you seek to improve and enlighten yourself out of the depths of your ignorance. Germany, New Zealand, Argentina, India, Chile, Brazil, Pakistan, the UK, Ireland, Canada, and Australia, to name but a few, have had women leaders. The USA has not. Women, as of right now, dominate publishing. J.K. Rowling is the most read author on Earth. Understand telling a woman to smile is an imposition and a demand you have no right to make. Don't use the term old lady as a pejorative. Old women raise the world and know everything. They're anything but weak. When you go into a bar or restaurant, notice if the women servers are made to wear hot outfits. Consider which places make men do that. Victoria's Secret has a TV special. Calvin Klein's men's undies do not. Women are the majority of workers in the world. They do not get equal pay, and they have to put up with men's shit attitude, groping, and harassment. Women are regularly assaulted, raped, beaten, abused, murdered, sold, and disappeared. Everywhere. That means in America as well. This is not the top story in the news. Ever. Therefore, women get a big W, and you will have to wait to be heard. For once, dude. It is dude, isn't it? 9. There will be words. Words make sentences make sense. Words can illuminate and illustrate, denigrate and castigate. Words come easy to some, others, including a certain president of the United States who had a deuce of a time pronouncing nuclear, without putting the nuke before the cular. They remain deciders. Some people enjoy great facility with words, others stumble over the simplest thoughts. Have you ever heard your uncle attempt to tell a coherent joke? Time to crack open the lexicon and let the thrills begin. You will quiver incandescently at the new breadth of expression you will attain. With little strenuous exertion on your behalf, you will find your corpus awash in expressions, redolent with remarks, conflated with commands, filled with phrases, and ready to take on that dinner party with those complete ninnies whose very presence makes your stomach churn. Improve your life all around by worshipping the flame that words ignite. You will be dazzled. Pyrolatris. 10. There will be books. Do not read, as children do, to amuse yourself, or like the ambitious for the purpose of instruction. No, read in order to live. Gustave Flaubert. And more books. Reading stretches the imagination. Books are better than movies, and movies are better than life. So therefore, books are better than life. Books have a bad rep as being too time-consuming. I'm too busy to read, you hear. I have to buy some quinoa, then take the twins to their postnatal yoga class, then update my Facebook page, then make a gluten-free pizzetta from scratch. You do have time. You're just too determined to be uninformed. Life is confusing and unclear. Books are amusing, and at worst, thought-provoking. No book ever asks for the rent, or threatens you with a knife. No book ever borrows money or agrees to help you move and then is too hungover to show up. Books are the cheapest, most readily available, easiest to carry, best way on earth to keep your mind racing, your heart thumping, and your sense of adventure piqued. Crack one open with me, and let's get drunk on text. We will put the text back in texting, and the context back in context. 11. There will be good drugs and good times. Light one up or pour one down, and let's all get together and put on wings, like Icarus, and see how high we can go tonight before the horrible flaming demon sun that the man made out of this hideous nuclear agenda burns our delicate artistic wings and sends our sensitive behind spiraling back to the ground like a burnt McNugget full of regret. Or let's just horse around until something funny happens. And if you're clean and sober, hooray for you. Be a lamb chop and go get the corkscrew. Oh, and refill the ice bucket as well, will you, darling? You can drive everyone home later. The Prooptionary. 1. Or if you speak Latin, I. Language. Noun. The music with which we charm the serpents guarding another's treasure. Ambrose Bierce, The Devil's Dictionary. Words is all we got. We bend them, parse them, define and redefine them, twist and twirl them, ignore, abuse, and mispronounce them. People who aren't listened to shout them. Books are chock full of them. Learn some new ones here and reset some old ones. People will be amazed and delighted with your soup's new vocab, or ignore you and go back to their phones and virtual obligations. Either way, you win. A secret win is the best kind of win because only you have to celebrate. Word. The Prooptionary is mercifully short and calibrated with your busy schedule in mind. All work and no play, as they say. These are in proopabetical order. Proopabetical order is the order of a river flowing upstream, a waft of smoke from a lit reefer, the condensation running down the frosty side of an icy-cold vodka-flavored vodka drink. Chaos theory holds that a small deviation in a set of systems creates unpredictable results. Proopabetical order exists only as long as the outsider is reading it, but wonders where that leaves you. Whatnot. Noun. Sometimes defined as something trivial or indefinite. This totally underestimates the importance of trivia. One person's trivia is another person's reason for living. For instance, one may know little about life, as it is full of bank notices and insurance bills that signify nothing. But one can fill up on trivia about, say, old-time baseball. While that may not make pragmatic day-to-day living easier, it's a cozy bolt hole to run to when the world seems too present. As for indefiniteness, no one word encapsulates our experience on this green swinging sphere as much as indefinite. So take that, trivia. Also, the Oxford English Dictionary defines whatnot as a stand with shelves for small objects. No one has ever used that definition of whatnot from your bloody book and whatnot. In a sentence, The room was douchily flooded with hipsters and tattooed hat wearers and whatnot. Fantastic. Adjective. This serves as the most versatile of adjectives. Yes, it means fanciful and whatnot, but it also means wonderful and terrific. Isn't that fantastic? Fantastic can mean strange, imaginary, made up, or just huge. That is the versatility we're looking for. From the Greek fantastikos, able to imagine images in your mind. That is super fantastic. In a sentence, let's get live, catch some toast, and hit that pie place. Fantastic. Those are some fantastic slingbacks you're wearing, Pumpkin Butter. Fantastic of you to say so, Love Shack. Swerve, verb. This is not about turning sharply to avoid hitting something or whatever the OED says that is so obvious. You may say swerve to someone you wish to avoid or to dismiss an inopportune request. But the meaning we propose is to party in a fulfilling way. A swerve, like a good mood, is something that must be put on. One gets one's own swerve on. In a sentence, hey, want to come to my party? Swerve. Give me a cigarette. Swerve. Baby cake, hand me the vaporizer. I gots to get my swerve on. Adore, verb. Super happening verb. Better than like, more sophisticated than nuts about or wet for. Adore makes life more like a madcap black and white picture from the 30s, where people wearing evening clothes and drink gimlets and have drivers in giant open-air sedans. In a sentence, hey, big boy, more mustard on your hot dog? I would simply adore a tad more, you minx. Possum, adverb. Possibly, maybe, might could. Like a nocturnal marsupial. In a sentence, could you possum answer the door? It's a possum with ability. Incontestable, incontestably. Adjective, adverb. No argument. You must use this whenever anyone questions even the slightest measure of taste in your presence. It is these kind of bon mots that'll get you invited to many sexy dinner parties with decent wine and a balcony to smoke on. In a sentence, this is incontestably the most desperately dire spinach salad in the long-storied history of humankind. The hideousness of that pinhead's gimme cap is incontestable. Kleptocracy, noun. In the United States, what we used to call democracy. It means the government's run by thieves. If you don't not believe the United States is a kleptocracy, then you are a Pollyanna. You must now go look up Pollyanna on your own. In a sentence, good morning, Mr. President. That is a fantastically big kleptocracy you've got there. Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister. The kleptocracy I preside over is adored by the wealthy. Pollyanna, noun. Oh, here it is. You shouldn't have to wait. Annoyingly optimistic in the face of reality. In a sentence, the dictionary indicates that Pollyanna rhymes with French Guiana. That would give even a depressed rhymer the blind optimism of a Pollyanna that you would be required to rhyme French Guiana with anything. I never want to hear from any cheerful Pollyannas who tell you fate supplies a mate, it's all bananas. But Not For Me by George and Ira Gershwin. Bon mot, noun. A witty remark. Time to add some French to your game, n'est-ce pas? Spend all your time thinking of these and then crack them out when the chips are down. Laughter almost always wins the day and can undo many awkward situations. Only a smartass calls a joke a bon mot. Dorothy Parker, who was wit personified, declared, "Wit has truth in it. Wisecracking is simply calisthenics with words." She also quipped, "One more drink and I'd have been under the host." That is wit. Try it. It's refreshing. Like being happy for a friend. In a sentence, Gwyneth Paltrow is a food blogger like someone on death row is a life coach. What an incontestably rich bon mot, you rapscallion. Plutocracy, noun. A country that is ruled by the richest people. The most accurate word currently in our possession. Thomas Jefferson on plutocracy. The end of democracy and the defeat of the American Revolution will occur when government falls into the hands of lending institutions and moneyed-in corporations. In a sentence, but we're not a democracy. It's a terrible misunderstanding and a slander to the idea of democracy to call us that. In reality, we're a plutocracy, a government by the wealthy.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?